So Cameron, if you could have any one job in the Israeli Defense Forces, what would it be?
I would probably be the person that goes around and milks corpses.
Dude, I was going to say something.
Yeah,
I would be like a major sergeant in the Israeli cum brigades.
Yeah, I would be the guy who's electronically stimulating the prostates of dead soldiers to induce ejaculation and collect their seed.
Yeah.
It just sounds too good.
First of all, it's like so motherfucking normal. That I feel like I could go to work every day and not have to be like, am what I doing, is it weird or uncouth?
Here's
you know
the
why?
Thing. I mean, I don't know. I understand the base desire involved, like the desire of a partner to want to have children with their deceased partner, right? I get that. I totally get that. However, it's the method of it that is a little odd, because you just don't hear about that anywhere else. And so, like, here's the thing. There are provisions in place for people in this situation. You can have sperm and eggs stored and frozen, right? Like, and I have a close family member who does that for a living, right? Like, the infrastructure's in place in every developed country in the world, which Israel certainly is, and in most, developing countries in the world, for things like that, if you've got the resources.
Yeah.
So I think what's freaking people out is not the idea that you would want to reproduce with a deceased partner, because that's something that happens fairly regularly. Or for example, if a partner suffers from, a form of cancer, for example, that would make, reproduction unfeasible. They can store their sperm, they can store their eggs, and then undergo whatever treatment, and then still have a shot at having a child. What's really fucking strange to me, and I think to you, and I think to just about everyone else, and what people are really downplaying and pretending isn't fucking weird, is that what they're doing is going around and jaying off dead soldiers and collecting their still living sperm, which I think there's a narrow window in which your sperm will still be viable.
Yeah, you got like 2 hours.
Yeah, and I don't know that they're doing it with eggs for women. I'm not sure if that's also a thing. I haven't read about that, but and it's freaky. It's freaky.
Yeah, I mean, I would also say you're not really beating the ethnic cleansing accusations when you're like hyper focused on making sure that like your ethnically pure soldiers are reproducing to the point that you're sucking their corpses off.
Yeah, and I think when it's compounded with the fact that the next generation of their opposing their enemies, let's say, are actively being like targeted for elimination, at like the infant level.
I mean that's the other thing too. It's like the Israelis are like decrying the loss of the seeds of their soldiers.
Meanwhile, they're mowing their grass.
Yeah, they're just fucking double tapping babies in Gaza, Palestinian babies. Again, you're not beating the allegations. Anyway,
you're beating something.
Cam, if I was dying on the battlefield, would you suck me off?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even. You don't even have to be dying on the battlefield, brother. I'd suck you off right now.
Yeah, would you suck off my corpse?
I don't know, man.
To make sure that I could impregnate you from beyond.
Like, I think you're barely fuckable alive, so I'm just not sure that rigor mortis is going to improve the. For me, just for what I like. I'm not saying, I think that's some objective truth. But for what I like, you're just a hair above the grade right now. So
okay. A little rude, but
well, I don't like dudes. So like I think that's actually a compliment, the fact that you even make the cut. And that's that's personality, brother. That is the strength of your wonderful personality.
Okay. Yeah. So would you or would you not suck off my corpse?
No.
Okay.
But if you're talking about would I put a cattle prod up your rectum and stimulate your prostate and collect your seed, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Yeah, just cup it in your hands as it comes out.
Yeah, no, I'm picturing like a slapstick cup where I'm like running, trying to dodge mines. Whoa! Coming through!
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now that we got that away, let's get to business.
Yeah. What is the business? Evan and I have had a week, man. It's been.
Yeah.
I mean, his week's. I'm not. It's I don't think we should get too much into the.
Yeah, no, I know. I made like a brief Twitter post, I guess, about it, but yeah, I've had like definitely the most fucked up week of my life. I think, like, bar none.
Yeah, and I mean, your week is so fucked up that talking about it with you makes me feel fucked up.
Yeah,
it's there's like a residual fucked upness to it that is tough to beat. I had COVID again though.
Yeah. As you could probably hear from both of us, I've had like a sinus infection, non-COVID division. So my voice is a little fucked up here. Cam has had COVID once again. This is what, the third time you've had it, or just the second?
Second time.
All right.
First time I had it, I missed Christmas 2021, and then the second time I got it, I missed Thanksgiving 2023. Now, that's actually something I would like to talk about, is Thanksgiving, because I think Evan and I both agree that, trappings aside, because we're not really into the trappings of that holiday necessarily, and I think if you're going into Thanksgiving and you're really treasuring the kindergarten myth of like Squanto gifting the fucking pilgrims with corn and shit, I think that you're stupid. I think that's stupid.
The IQ may be slightly higher than
if that's what you're taking away from that, and like that's what you're leaping to defend, is like the imagery, the Thanksgiving imagery of like the traced hand turkey and the fucking hats with the belt buckles on
before the infernal natives decided to betray us.
Yeah, which again, not super cool of them, but whatever. We'll get to that. No, I think if that's the thing that you like about Thanksgiving, that fucking sucks. I mean, that, and I think that sucks regardless of, what your stances on things are, right? Like, just like with Christmas, Christmas, I'm not a religious person, and I think if your favorite thing about Christmas is like the same 10 songs played over and over again, and like the fucking trappings of it, you gotta evolve. What you get out of these holidays, I think, needs to evolve. But that being said, there's some promise to Thanksgiving, and I like Thanksgiving because ostensibly, what it should be is just a secular day spent fucking enjoying the presence of your loved ones and having a fucking meal, a big hot stinky fucking meal, and farting all day. And I like that. I like the idea of a feast that isn't tied to anything. And these people, they're trying to make it into this fucking manifest destiny weirdo bullshit, and I think we should drop all that. I really do. I like Thanksgiving. I like the idea of being thankful for things, but I think that we really gotta reevaluate the
0%
branding.
Chance that's happening.
0%
chance that'll happen.
No, I know. Well, that's the thing, because the people that we're talking about will dig their heels in over anything. It's the people that were mad about having a black Little Mermaid. It's that level of
people
silliness.
shit their pants about Bud Light having a transgender, not even spokesperson, just doing a little TikTok video with the transgender.
Well, I mean, so as a bartender, I do have to say, and I'm sure this is going to be calling out some of our listeners, for all the flack and all of the legitimate criticism that you can give to like the craft beer enthusiast community, the absolute worst, like pants pissing baby demographic of fucking beer drinkers are the like devotees of the American macro brew. Like, nobody is a bigger fucking baby than like a Miller Lite guy when you don't have exactly what he wants. The amount of dudes, mostly dudes, let's be honest, because dudes are babies. The amount of dudes out there who like will be like, fine, I guess I'll just have water. Oh,
are you serious? They won't
Oh
drink
my god, it is unbelievable, and it's a running. I mean,
like really, they won't drink?
Yeah, they just won't. I'll have a Diet Coke then. Like, what do you mean you don't have? So if you're a Bud Light guy, you're already potentially in one of the most like emotionally fragile demographics in the country. Yeah. And so I will say, I'm not sure that we're talking about a group of people that was especially cut out to handle that kind of,
Well, it was also ripple. The funniest part though was that the number one riser from that, like the beer that like made the most kind of like you said, like where like the Miller Lite drinkers not gonna want Coors Light. So the beer that raised the most in sales after the Bud Light thing was Modelo, which is owned by none other than Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
So it's just like the house always wins.
Yeah, well, that's what people don't realize is those big macro brews, they own fucking everything.
Yeah.
You know, like so much of what you drink is produced by Budweiser.
Yeah,
So-
it's like getting really mad at like Saab or something like, or was it Volvo, I think,
Yeah.
and then buying a Volkswagen.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, it's like that.
yeah, it's just like that.
Or getting really mad at Mercury and going out and buying a Ford. Do you remember Mercury? The Mercury Sable?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I
first car was a Mercury Mystique.
Was that the SUV? No, that was a Pontiac.
What?
Do you remember that you had that like SUV in college?
That was a Saturn, yeah.
A Saturn. Oh my god, yeah, Saturn's another one that doesn't really exist. What are you talking about? What? You know the car I'm talking about.
No, because I did like this. So there's this one story, like Benny's. You remember the great store Benny's that used to be up here around New England, right?
Benny's?
Yeah.
No, what was Benny's?
You never been to a Benny's?
I don't know if we had Benny's, dude. Let me look up Benny's. You tell the story. I'm going to find out what
Okay,
Benny's
so
is.
like Benny's was this like beautiful store that used to exist up here in the Northeast, and in Massachusetts, and they kind of just sold like a lot of stuff. You could get your bikes there, you know. You could get your pool chemicals. You could get tires for your car. You know what I mean? Just like all this like various kind of like garage stuff, basically.
Yeah, it wasn't up here. It was a Rhode Island, Connecticut, Southern Mass thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't have Benny's. Yeah.
Yeah, Benny's. That was a staple around here. So for all I guess for all my Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Southern Massachusetts heads out there don't know what Benny's was. But so there was one time like I had to get some. I forget what. I went with my dad. So my first car is this fucking Mercury Mystique, and I think maybe we were looking for like new tires or something like that. And we go there, and there's this one fucking old guy, and he's a particular type of old guy that like, you know, that's just like doesn't know their head from their ass. And it's just like, you know, just like an old guy who's just like always bullshitting about everything, and just like acts like they know everything, but they don't know shit.
That sounds kind of like you and me. Are we going to be that guy?
No, we're not going to be like that, guys, because we actually
Am I
going to
need
things.
to go to
Okay, let me tell the
and
story.
Am I going to cover my ass?
Let me tell the story, and then you're going to like understand that we're not this type of guy.
Okay.
And so like we go outside, and he comes and looks at my fucking car. Right, like, and this guy's not that old. He's probably maybe like 60 years old or something like that. But he looks at this car, and it's a Mercury Mystique, and it's a sedan. It's basically a Ford Taurus. It's a sedan. And we go back inside, and, you know, we're trying to, like, he's looking through the book for, like, type of tires to get, and goes, oh, what was your car? It was a Mercury Mesquite, right?
Yeah.
And he's looking under Mesquite, and not Mystique, like,
Yeah.
Mesquite fucking barbecue.
Sure.
And we're like, no, Mystique, M-Y. It goes, oh, yeah, it's an SUV, right? Or a minivan, right?
Yeah. He
And, like, he literally just looked at the car.
Yeah, man.
Like, and, you know, so when you said, oh, Mystique, that was that, like, SUV or minivan, right? I
It
thought
reminded
that
you of that guy.
Yeah, I thought that you were referring to the story. I was like, wait, how do you know the story about this fucking shithead Benny's dude?
I mean, I know a few of your stories by now. But,
I know, yeah.
What was the model of the Saturn?
What? The Saturn, that was a View, yeah.
Saturn View. Oh, VUE.
VUE, yeah.
The Saturn View. Oh, yeah, that's the one, and it was black. And
It had the worst blind spots ever.
Yeah,
The
it was a
killer blind
fucky
spots.
car for sure, but it was.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. Here it is exactly. This is the car.
The black one,
We
yeah.
had some times in that. Was it an 08?
I don't think it was an 08. I think maybe 06 or something. Maybe it was an 08. I don't know.
It was this guy.
Yeah, it was that guy, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to go on a lot of drives in that car.
Yeah, man.
Late night drives.
Yeah, to Taco Bell.
Yeah, that we absolutely were not smoking anything in.
Yeah, man. I mean, don't be weird about it.
Want some whiskey in your water, sugar in your tea? What's all these crazy questions they're asking me? This is the craziest party that could ever be. Don't turn on the lights, cause I don't wanna see. Mama told me let's is choking from the smell of stale perfume. And that cigarette you're smoking, I'll scare me half to death. Open up the window, sucker, let me catch my breath. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. That ain't the way to have fun. Son, that ain't the way to have fun. Shit, at the door. I'm looking at my girlfriend, she passed out on the floor. I've seen so many things I ain't never seen before. Don't know what it is, I don't want to see no more. Mama told me not to come. Mama told me not to come. She said that ain't the way to have fun. Son, that ain't the way to have fun. No.
And at that point I was still driving the Green Dragon 2.
Dude, yeah.
Which was my 1996 Honda Accord coupe with no functioning speedometer. And this was in like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
I was using an app, and I wouldn't want to do that now. They definitely weren't any better.
We got the fucking passenger seat, the front passenger seat that was untethered completely from its track system.
Yeah.
So it's just
it was on the tracks. It just didn't lock.
It just didn't lock. So you would just be swinging back and forth all the whole.
Yeah. Anytime
ride.
I braked, it would shoot forward. So anybody that knew that you had to brace your legs up against the front when I was stopping. Otherwise, you would just shoop. Like if I was in an accident, somebody could have been catapulted through the front.
Yeah.
But that thing kept passing inspection for a couple of years. You don't need a speedometer or a functioning passenger, or you didn't.
Yeah.
At least the couple times but eventually it failed for something else, and I was driving around with a rejection, and I got rid of the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I bought my mom's Toyota Highlander, and then we took that road trip up to Vermont with my dad.
Yeah.
And then my transmission failed like on the way back.
Well, it started bucking on the way there.
Yeah.
And, like, we're trying to figure out if you had just gotten rear-ended at one point.
Yeah. Yeah,
because, like, the thing bucked so hard that we, like, shot forward a few feet.
Yeah, it was only when I was at a lower speed.
Well.
But, yeah, yeah. And so that was interesting, and and then I came back in that car. So that really only made that one trip. I had that Toyota Highlander for, like...
You had literally
maybe
just
a month.
It. Yeah.
And then the transmission failed. Yeah. And then I got my Kia Optima, which I totaled.
That was when you got the Kia.
Yeah, I bought the Kia, and then I totaled it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, and then I bought the Acura. I got another, 2000 and... It was an older car, but I liked it. It was 2003.
Or something.
I loved that car, though. That was an awesome car.
Oh.
And then... that car, my spark plug exploded getting on the highway to drive down to see Evan for the Portuguese feast.
Yeah.
And Evan was the least supportive friend of all time. I was literally, my car was pouring smoke and I was just trying to get far enough to get off of the Mass Pike, and I call him And I'm like, dude, I don't think I can make it. And he's like, oh, yeah. No, bear in mind, I had a long history before I stopped drinking of flaking on plans. So it's not that there's like a total lack of precedent here for Evan to be like, oh, here we go. Like Cam's just going to come up with a reason not to come down at the last minute.
Yeah, some crazy car thing always happens.
Yeah,
Just
no, this was legit.
right when you hit the road.
My car was like pouring. Yeah, so I mean, this is like a boy who cried wolf situation. But so my car is like pouring smoke. And to be clear, folks, I'm much better now. I don't do that stuff.
Yeah,
but my car is pouring
you
smoke.
You definitely don't. Well.
And so I pull it off, and meanwhile I'm like pissed because Evan's just being a cunt, like just being like, "Okay, man, well, are you sure? Because you should probably just drive down here." And I was like, "Dude, I don't know, man. Every time I drive above 10 miles an hour, my car is like," and he's just like, "Okay, well, you know, whatever, dude." And I'm just like, "You know what? Fuck you, man." And in the moment, I was a little stressed because I was behind the wheel of this car, which I thought was going to explode.
Yeah, that's just going.
And Evan was just like, "Oh no, it sounds like bullshit to me."
Yeah,
and I was like, "I don't know, man. I don't say." So then, whatever. Long story short, the car that turned into a whole. Should I just tell that story? Because that was a fucking day. I had a day.
Yeah, the story was hysterical. Dude.
So that happens, right? And finally, like, I get back to my house and I say to Evan, I was like, "Look, I get it, I understand, but also, I that was a fucked up moment, and like the last thing I needed in that moment was for you to be like doubting that I was, because I was like nervous I was gonna die. I thought I was on the highway and my spark plug exploded, and somehow my engine was still running, and so I got my car back to my house, and so then I had to kick into like overdrive. I was like, I need to get a new car, so. I'm like figuring out how much money I have set aside. I have like $4,000 set aside, and I'm like, okay, I can buy a car with $4,000, but I have work in 2 days, and like I just had to like figure it out. I had to get a car. Yeah. So the next day, I take the car, I drive it 2 miles into the neighboring town to the mechanic. I drop it there. I'm like, I need you to tell me what's wrong with this car. And from there, I walk back towards my house a mile and stop at the Honda dealership. So there's my house, there's the Mass Pike, there's a Honda dealership.
Yeah, and also I think that it's important right now to like to paint this for our listeners that like you live like basically like you're basically in Boston. Yeah. And in this like really insanely fucked up like so like Boston, for those that are unaware, makes absolutely no sense any of the streets. It's all come up naturally. So there are a lot of insanely chaotic like little intersections and like regions, and it's just so densely populated. Mm-hmm. There's so many people there, and they are all fucking pissed that everybody else is there. Yeah. So that this is just adding
so
to the stress.
I live near. For those of you who live near us, I live right next to, like a couple blocks away from the infamous the Circle of Death, Mass Pike intersection between Newton and Watertown. It's like right on the Newton-Brighton-Watertown line, and when you get off of that exit there's that loop around, and it's just always a fucking nightmare. There's multiple different arteries feeding into it. No one's ever chill. It's like always a fucking disaster trying to get anywhere. So getting across that is a huge fucking problem. So whatever, I drive my car, which is shaking and clunking and grinding and making noise, and I get it across I get it across the Mass Pike, right, which is like a half mile from my house. And I bring it all the way into Watertown, and I drop it off at the mechanic, and they're looking at it, trying to tell me what's wrong with it. And meanwhile, I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk back. So in between my house and the mechanic is a Honda dealership. So I stop in there, and I'm talking to this guy. And I'm like, hey, man, I need to buy a car. And this guy knows he's got me by the nuts because I'm like, I think
he fucking... yeah. He's just like, oh, yeah, this fucking dude literally
They probably brought in, like,
here.
their greenest dude, and they're like, you're gonna get a sale. Just, like, fucking sell whatever.
This dude just walked into the dealership saying he basically needs to be driving away with a car.
Yeah, I was like, I need a car today. And you know, here's what I have to spend, and like
the guy's just like,
let's look at some cars, and whatever, they were fine. So, but they're car dealers, they're doing their thing. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at cars, whatever, and I finally find one that I'm like, all right, this works. Like I can put the down payment on this, and it's new enough. Like I was saving up to get a new car, but this was a couple months early for me. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I'm like, okay, I'll get this car, and then I hear back from the mechanic, and he's like, dude, I don't know how you got this car here. Like, your spark plug exploded. Your car shouldn't be driving. It shouldn't be functional. I do not understand what's happening. He's like, I can't diagnose it. He's like, all I can say is the car is fucking toast. And I was like, okay. I was like, do you think that I can get it to this car dealership? Can I drive it away from there? And he was like, you can. If it'll start, you're allowed to. He's like, I wouldn't drive it away from here. But if you can get it to run, you can take it, yes. And I was like, cool. And he was like, yeah, we're not even going to charge you for this. Like, this is fucked. He's like, you're going to need to buy a car. And I was like, I'm already on it, brother. So I walk back. So I'm like, I talk to this guy. I'm like, hey, man, I've got a car. It's got some fucking trouble. Can I trade it in? And he's like, if you can get it here, I'll give you whatever, however much he would give me for it. Not much, like $1,000 for the car.
Yeah.
Just for the parts. And I was like, okay. So my mission now, he's like, so just get your car cleaned out, get everything out of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can have your paperwork done by, whatever o'clock before we close. And if you can get your old car here by then, you can trade it in. You get the registration from the car because they needed the registration. We can do all the paperwork and we can get you out of here by closing time at, 6 o'clock, whenever they close. Mm. And I was like, okay, yes. Meanwhile, there's storm clouds brewing. It's also 100 degrees outside. So I go, I walk, I get the car, I drive the car to my house, and it makes it. It makes it back to my house. And I'm like, great. Car's back to my house, and I just got to get it cleaned out, and then I got to get it back to the dealership, which is less than a mile away. I'm like, all right, car, you've made it this far. I'm talking to my car out loud at this point. I'm like, you've made it this far. Please, I just need you to drive another half mile, 3/4 of a mile, and then I can lay you to rest for good. You've earned it.
Yeah.
And my car doesn't respond, obviously. And so I get back to my car, I get it cleaned out. I find the registration. I'm making all these phone calls. I get all the paperwork together that I need, my title, my ownership, whatever. And I call the dealership. They're like, okay, we're ready for you. Get the car here, and we can do the thing. You've got an hour. And I'm like, okay. Or an hour and a half, something like that. I'm like, okay. Oh. So I take my car, and I'm like, again, I'm talking to my car. I'm like, car, just get to the Honda dealership. It's not far. All you got to do is get to the Honda dealership. And this is when my crucible begins. So between my house and the Honda dealership, there are 4 stoplights. And I'm concerned that every time I stop my car, it might not start again.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the guy said to me. He's like, every time this car stops, there's a chance that it's not going to start again. So I'm like, all right, I got to get through. Hopefully, these lights are all green, and I just get through. And almost every day of my life, I go right through most of those lights and never have to stop. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe today will be that day. I'll zip right across. It's the right time of day. There won't be traffic at the circle of death, and I'll get through, and it'll be no big deal. So I get my car, first stoplight, red. Stop at the car. It's making some fucking noises, but the light turns green, and I chug, and I get up, right? Next stoplight, red again. Stop. Same thing, and my heart is in my fucking throat. I'm losing my mind right now. But light turns green, chug. I get it going. I get it through. The last stoplight is at the circle of death. So you're crossing the Mass Pike.
Yeah.
And so it's the stoplight that feeds right into that where there's like this ring of traffic. Yeah. And it's the most heavily trafficked intersection near me. And so I get up and the light turns red. And I'm right there. I'm in between 2 cement medians that are funneling traffic through the stoplight into this intersection. The light turns red. I stop my car. Car fucking dies. It's dead. It's red right lines. There. Yep. And now it's dead. It's in the worst possible place. Any of the preceding stoplights would have been no problem. People could have gotten around me. No issue. But now I am blocking a heavily trafficked artery into like the worst intersection in my neighborhood. And there is a line of 40 cars behind me. And no one is chill about it. Immediately, everyone is like, why would you stop? Why do you like to do this? Why is this what you chose to do? And so I get out of my car. I put on my hazards. I get out of my car. It's 100 degrees out. I am pouring sweat. And there's a line of people flipping me off like, you fucking asshole. And I'm just like, dude, I also don't feel good about this. This isn't great for me. I would have liked to have stopped anywhere else. I'd also like to be dead right now, frankly, is what I would like. And so people are like just blasting in there, they're trying to go around. It's causing this whole fucking problem. So I call the cops because I'm just like, I can't leave my car here. I gotta fucking get someone out here to like redirect traffic or something. There's gonna be another accident, or someone's gonna try to fucking kill me.
Yeah, that would be much more likely.
So meanwhile, a couple of guys hop out of their car and they're like, whatever, can you pop it in neutral? And like finally, I like jam the car into neutral. And we wheel it like just enough off to the side that like people can squeak by. So at least there's that. The cops show up and the cops are like, hey, like, okay, we got to get your car out of here. And he's like, here's the thing. If we tow your car, they're going to take it to our tow yard, which is 2 miles across town. I was like, but I need to get right over there. I can see it. I point. I said, do you see the Honda dealership right there? Right on the other side of the Mass Pike? I just need to bring it there. If I can get it there, no problem. And he's like, yeah, but that's not how it works. Like, these tow truck guys, they're going to want you to pay them. So, you know, he's going to tow you to the tow yard, and you're going to have to pay him to get your car back. And I was like, well, what the fuck? And he was like, yeah, so maybe if you can get, like, AAA to come out and tow you, you can tell them where to take you. And I was like, okay. So I get on the phone. AAA's not picking up. And I'm standing there, and I'm watching this shit unfold, and I'm watching these cops just look at me like, time's ticking, pal. Like, we can't fucking stay here all day. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. And I'm sweating, and finally AAA is just not, it's just not going to happen. AAA is not coming through in the clutch. Yep. So finally he's like, listen, man, I gotta get the car towed out of here. He's like, I'm sorry, I understand. I don't mean to, like, fuck your day up. And they were nice, whatever. He was like, I don't mean to fuck your day up, but, like, we can't just leave the car here. And I was like, okay. So, and again, he's like, anywhere else, not a big deal. He's like, this is, like, the worst fucking place you could have broken down. I was like, really? Does it seem like a bad spot to be stuck? Oh, okay. So his tow truck guy gets here, and I'm frantically on the phone with the dealership because I have, like, 20 minutes at this point. I'm like, hey, man, this just happened. Like, whatever. I'm sorry, but if I get the car there before you close, can we still do this deal today? And he's like, yep, just get it here. And I was like, the car's fucking dead. He's like, I don't give a shit, man. We already signed the paperwork. I'll give you the fucking $1,000. Just get the car here. And I was like, okay. So finally, the tow truck guy shows up, and he's, like, going through the motions. He's, like, looking at the car, all this stuff, and he's, like, checking under the hood, and then he looks at me and goes, hey, buddy, I got bad news for you. I'm like, the car's fucked. I need a new car. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, I have a new car signed and fucking purchased right across the fucking street. I just need to bring this car there so I can get it. And he goes, oh, you'll still pay me the full price for bringing it, even if I just bring it there? And I was like, yes, I don't give a shit. Bring me the fucking, if you can just drop the car off in front of that place, we're good. And he goes, okay, can do. Hop in the car. And I look and I take a step and I feel this, like, fucking squish. And I look down and I have stepped in what must have been like 6 or 7 wadded up pieces of gum. Someone had been chewing the biggest wad of gum you've ever seen in your life and spit it out their window on the hottest day of the summer. And I lift up my foot and it was like a cartoon, like a tendril of fucking gum from my fucking foot to the ground. And the cop who's next to me is looking down and he looks up at me and we both just start dying laughing. And he goes, my friend, you're having what we like to call a soup sandwich kind of a day. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what that means, but it feels true. And he was like, yep.
Feels bad.
Yeah, I was like, it feels bad. He's like, yep, it's bad. And I was like, okay, well, thanks for everything. And he was like, no problem. And then the guy dropped me off across the street, and I got my current car, and that's the story of that. But the gum was funny. I stepped in the most
just like
gum.
A comically large amount of gum.
Dude, it was so much gum. I stepped in the most gum I've ever... And it was hot, so it was melted. It was just... Yeah. Anyway, that's the story. And there we go. We're at 30 minutes.
Yep. So anyway, I think we want. So back to what we were saying.
What were we even talking about? I don't remember.
About just like a really fucked up week, and that so like
that's right. Oh my god, yeah. So this week's been a fucked up week.
So Cam's had COVID, and
yeah, sorry, I'm still coughing and shit too.
Yeah, he missed Thanksgiving. Last time he got COVID, he missed Christmas.
It's only for holidays. That's what I.
Yeah, my roommate went insane. So that's been
do you want to talk about that? I mean,
not really too much. I'll just go. I want to respect his privacy, even though obviously he doesn't like do anything like this. But so I've had to. I've found myself owning a dog, at least for the time being.
Yeah, she's a good dog, at least.
Yeah, she's a great dog. But so there's that. And yeah, so I've just had like a lot of insane stuff that is also means that I will be very quickly moving out into a new place. So in terms of having like some big fully written episodes, stuff like that might be a little while for me. I had started my next one, but I got a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, the plan was for me to have one written for this week, but then I had COVID, so I didn't write one because I was legitimately sick. That shit sucked. I was down and out for a few days.
So anyway, we're just kind of bullshitting because we promised to get episodes out every week, so we're getting them out every week.
Yeah.
Cam, have you but I did have a little thing to talk about. I mean, obviously there's the Israeli cum brigades.
And also they've now surpassed the death and displacement tolls of the Nakba, which is like the initial wave of violence that pushed Palestinians out.
Yeah.
So I think, what is it now? We're at like over 20,000 killed and like 1.7 million displaced people total, which is like insane.
Yeah.
Considering there were like 2 million people in Gaza total.
Yeah.
So that's almost the entire population either killed or displaced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just terrible.
And the thing with Israel too is that like all of the people that like the state of Israel is trotting out there to like talk about stuff, and like all the talking heads are so motherfucking normal. Like there was one person, I don't even remember who, I kind of like saw this quickly, but that they were joking that they're gonna go out there and like fucking circumcise all these Muslim combatants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which like, don't Muslims circumcise?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I'm neither, and I'm circumcised.
Me too.
Which I guess is not a thing outside the United States, that non-religious circumcisions are very common.
Yeah, I mean, I was born Catholic, and I know it's really big in Catholicism, at least like Northeast.
Yeah, up here it is, but not globally at all.
Yeah, not globally. Yeah, no. You know, if you go to Italy or something like that, they're working with fucking uncirced dicks and shit. But up here, like, you know, New England Catholics, they definitely do it a lot.
Yeah, they got those fucking sea cucumber ass looking dicks.
Yeah, that's what I got.
No, you don't, because you're circumcised.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, that's right.
You got a nice little mushroom. They got fucking dirty sea cucumbers. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I think it's whatever. I think circumcision is an odd thing to do, especially if you don't have like some religious conviction behind it. You know, it's like an odd
I suppose it makes more sense in the past.
Yeah, when like hygiene was less
exactly
available,
so
but like
gnarly ass, fucking gross ass dick.
Yeah, and there are medical reasons to need to do it, but like I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole other can of worms.
Yep. Anyway, so but yeah, no, so yeah, you've got like Israelis going out there joking that they're gonna fucking circumcise, like the forcibly circumcise Muslims and shit like that. Like, yeah, that's some fucking weird shit, man.
Yeah, that's incredibly odd.
Yeah.
My dog wears a path on the same line, and lately I'm thinking I might take his advice. Yeah. Cause he sees through the fence and he thinks I'm free, but my brain and his chain look the same to me. All alone in a cage with a headrest, there's a thing I could get off of my chest. Cause I wanna wear the path that's true, and I wanna wear the path with you. Out in the cold, off the leash for years or more. I don't even know what it was I was waiting for. Well, maybe I barked up the wrong tree. That was then, now I'm back, won't you see me? Cause I wanna wear the path that's true, and I wanna wear the path with you. Oh, it's true. But I got older anyway, so won't you, so won't you, so won't you brush my fears away? My dog wears a path and that's a good sign. My dog wears tell you that I wear the path that's true, and I wanna wear the path with you, and I wanna wear the path that's true.
But as far as if you want to talk about something like super fucking normal that's gone on, how much do you know about Argentina's president-elect?
I've seen pictures of him, and I know that he's like a Nazi.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I saw like somebody on Twitter that like said that he's like maybe descended from the Croatian fascist Ante Pavelic, but I don't know.
Javier Milei.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how much that is. I know he's obviously of Italian descent, just like many Argentinians.
Italians and Germans, brother.
Yeah. He is suspiciously British looking too, I will say. He looks like a Doctor Who. But yeah, he's a libertarian, and actually he's really an anarcho-capitalist who has dressed up before as a character that he came up with named Captain ANCAP, ANCAP for anarcho-capitalist, which you should look up a picture of that if you haven't seen that
Captain
before.
ANCAP. Also, just to double back, circumcision is very common in Islam for cleanliness purposes, but is not compulsory like it is in Judaism.
Okay, cool.
Captain what?
Captain ANCAP, Javier Milei.
Captain ANCAP. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, that dude's the president now.
He's got like really cool. It's actually cool as shit. And he has like 3D renders of it with his hair, because his hair's outrageous.
Yeah, his hair's
and he's
insane.
got this cool like trident looking thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is sweet.
Yeah, it's very cool looking. We have our first incel president, ladies and gentlemen. Our first incel world leader.
Oh, he's had toys made?
Yeah. He's never been married. He's childless. He says that his sister will act as his first lady.
Nice, dude.
So yeah, we've got our first incel world leader. He also, one of my favorite things about him is, yeah, that's Captain ANCAP, all right. Yeah, he does the thumbs up like Trump too all the time. And Boris Johnson did that a lot. So did Jair Bolsonaro. So the tepid thumbs up is the go-to symbol for dumbass right-wing strongman world leader.
He's also got really, really sweet sideburns.
Yeah.
His whole look, I mean, he looks like he's like a 19th century general.
Yeah.
You know, he looks like he could be...
he looks like a Doctor Who.
He could be a Doctor Who, yeah.
Because he looks very British.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to talk about sort of, I guess, a little bit of like his council of ministers or his inner circle. And there are 5
Captain
people.
ANCAP's Legion of Justice.
Yeah, there's 5 figures that make up his inner circle. Okay? And their names are thus: Conan, Murray, Milton, Robert, and the Lucas.
They don't have last names?
Well, Cameron, they're dogs. And not just...
So I guess technically their last name would be Milei.
Yeah, and they're not just any dogs. They're all clones of a previous dog of his that was also named Conan. Named after Conan the Barbarian. Murray is named after Murray Rothbard. Milton is named after Milton Friedman. And both Robert and Lucas are named after Robert Lucas. So he's got Conan the Barbarian and then a bunch of pervert, economists that he named his dogs after.
And they're all clones of... So his dogs are...
And they're all clones
twins?
of the original dog. Which is...
You can just get your dog cloned?
Yeah, he spent $50,000 on this.
Each?
In 2018, Milei went on... So this is from a Time magazine about the dogs. In 2018, Milei went on to pay about $50,000, according to Reuters and the New York Times, to U.S. company Perpetuate to clone Conan using his DNA. Something Milei had reportedly been planning to do for some time.
And so he did it 5 times.
Yeah. So they're all clones. And it was an English Mastiff named Conan, so... these are fucking massive dogs. They're 200 pounds.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah.
They're also awesome. They're super adorable.
Yeah. I actually have never looked at pictures of them.
Let's see. Yeah, I have a good one here. I'll just send it to you.
Yeah. But yeah, so he says that he gets oh, that is a nice looking dog. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Wow.
And I just think the idea of cloning your dog is very odd.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about dogs. They're so... And not everybody obviously views it this way, but my dog growing up, Maggie, was a sweet, sweet angel from heaven.
Yeah.
But she's gone, and I don't want anybody to replace her. I don't want another Maggie.
Well,
she was great. And I'm so lucky that I knew her, but you gotta move on and make new dog friendships. It's like Boris.
Yeah.
You don't want to clone, so that would be just a nightmare. But you don't want to clone Boris. He was great.
Yeah.
But you got
and I look upon
Sadie.
him fondly.
Yeah.
Sometimes I didn't look upon him so fondly during his life.
Oh, I've never heard you yell so loud as when you had that dog, and it was constant. Being in your house when that dog was around was stressful. It was stressful because it was just constantly you'd be we were obviously getting hammered, and then you would just be like, Boris, and then he would just be like, woo, 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 and then you'd be like, Shah! And then he'd be like, woo, woo, and I'm just sitting there this is so fun. This feels so good.
Yeah, this was not my dog, by the way. This is my roommate's old dog, Boris. Who had a natural affinity for eating things. I would always have to tell people when you're drinking beers, do not leave your fucking bottle caps out. Please throw them in the trash.
Because he would eat them. He would chew them up.
And then puke them up.
Yeah. Like bloody, puked up chunks of metal.
This was just a German Shepherd that my roommate really didn't take care of the way a German Shepherd should be taken care of. So he was just all pent up and frustrated. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Constantly just rock hard.
Oh yeah,
ready to party,
never got
dude.
Fixed.
Just never fixed, but never allowed to fuck. Really, just really a fucking. And that's the thing. If you're not going to fix your dog, I think the idea is that you might breed it someday.
And he died a virgin, dude. Yeah, he would just be no. I'm gonna breed him someday because he's a purebred. And it's I would keep telling him this dog's 8 years old.
Yeah.
This dog's got to bust in something.
Super, super fucked up that he never was given the opportunity to bust.
Yeah.
Well, what can you do?
Yep. Anyway.
You could have had him fixed at 9.
I know.
I still
tried to. I still tried to convince him. I was like, dude, get this fucking dog fixed.
Yeah.
This poor thing.
He was losing his fucking mind, dude.
Dude, people get weird when they don't bust out. When humans don't bust, they end up writing incel manifestos.
I haven't gotten laid in a month and a half, and I'm ready to stab my own eyeballs out of my head. It's a fucking nightmare. I can't imagine 9 years of my life. Well, I guess the first 16, 17 years of my life.
Yeah.
I was getting pretty touch and go there at the end of that. So
yeah. But yeah. So anyway. But then Javier Milei says all this other insane shit about his dogs. He says he first met his dog Conan, the original one, 2,000 years ago in the Roman Colosseum.
Nice, dude. What were they doing there?
I'm not sure. He says the dog was a fucking like a lion in the Colosseum, and I'm not sure if they were combatants against each other or what.
And what does he think he was? You know, like
I don't know.
A gladiator, definitely a gladiator.
Yeah, probably. 'Cause he is of Italian descent. He says so. Maybe I don't know.
He's descended from pig farmers like the rest of us.
Yeah. But anyway, so he also he says that he still communicates with Conan and whatnot in their dreams, and he travels into the past in his dreams.
Interesting.
So I'm very excited that he was elected, because so like right now things aren't going so great in Argentina. The ruling party, which is this like center left party, which they were running Sergio Massa for the presidency. Mm-hmm. They've been things haven't been going so great under their leadership. And there's something like 120% inflation in Argentina this year alone, which is like, think about how bad it is in the U.S. and we've had like 10%.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's bad here.
Yeah.
I feel broke every fucking month.
Yeah, me too. And so, so things aren't going really that great. And he also, Javier Milei, his like main symbol is a chainsaw because he wants to cut through all the bureaucratic red tape. So he's always like carrying a chainsaw, and he wants to just basically cut like all of these fucking like federal programs and like fire like half the employees of the state. Oh, God. Basically, he's just going to like institute like IMF shock doctrine that's like even more brutal than the IMF is recommending for like austerity.
Yeah.
In Argentina, and shit is, and he also had like seemingly some kind of nervous breakdown after the initial election because they do a runoff there. Seemingly, yeah, he was busting. But like where he was like talking about hearing voices and couldn't focus because he was hearing voices in the studio. And obviously, he says that he talks to his dog 2,000 years ago when he sleeps. So
I'd say put him in charge of the army.
He should
Falklands War Part 2, dude. Let's fucking get that shit going.
Yeah. I think
the UK's had it too good for too long in the Falklands.
I do think the UK's had it too good for too long. So I think Javier Milei should be president of the US.
Yeah, man. I think that we should. Yeah, can you do that? Can you elect a foreign president as our president? Can we? We should write him in.
Well, that used tampon Cenk Uygur is trying to run for president, and he was born in Turkey, so
yeah. Is that how you pronounce it? Not Uyghur.
Yeah, it's Cenk Uygur.
You're not a Cenk fan?
No, that dude sucks dick, dude.
Okay, well, we don't use that as a derogatory anymore because lots of great people that I know suck dick.
Yeah, me too. But he sucks dick.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, he sucks. Fuck that guy. He's an asshole.
What's the? I know he's the Young Turks guy, right?
Yeah.
Didn't people used to like the Young Turks?
Yeah, sometimes, I guess, but I know he's always been a fucking piece of shit. When he was like an outspoken conservative talking head before he decided to create a progressive news platform named after a group of Turkish fascists, the Young Turks. And he's like a wicked like strike breaker and shit like that. Like,
Do you think he's an op?
No, did you ask me if I thought he was an op? No, I just think he's a dumb fat asshole.
Okay. He just doesn't know what's up.
Yeah, he's just a loser.
I don't really know much about him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he sucks.
Fuck, man.
Yep.
Man, you know what's crazy? I think this is the most that I've spoken in like days, and I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Sorry for all the throat clears. I'll try to edit as much of that out as I can, but
yeah.
Shit. So what else? What else is going on?
Yeah. What else is going on? I don't know. Let's see. I want to see that new Napoleon movie.
You still do?
Yeah. Oh yeah. it's gonna be a train wreck, it seems, which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down also, but like, I was hoping it would be a good movie.
I was
a really
too.
long, shitty movie, and apparently, like, despite himself, and despite the fact that like it's 2023 and like everyone on Earth just has access to like history and historiographical material. Ridley Scott still was like, no, I'm really still butthurt about the whole thing, like as a Brit. So
an Englishman, yeah,
I'm gonna do like the fucking 19th century Napoleon narrative and just make that the movie. It's like, dude, come on, like,
yeah,
really, he's just like a sad, horny man who like wanted to prove a point.
He's literally the billions must die guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's very funny that Ridley Scott decided. Apparently, I haven't seen it yet, but from what I've heard, is that he just took the butthurt Englishman view of Napoleon,
like the Bond villain, fucking
And like it wasn't England that was like routinely declaring war on France no matter what. Anytime that France even like, I mean, I get that like Napoleon, like he definitely used warfare as like a diplomacy tactic.
Yeah.
But there were definitely times too when he was trying to sue for peace, or he would kick England's ass, and then obviously have the upper hand in negotiations, and England would just be like, no, we can't let that happen. So even though we've lost, we'll try to start a new coalition and refuse to, just settle terms.
And no one can win forever. And so they just wore him down.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
And that's not to say that Napoleon was like a fucking great guy or anything, but that's never what Evan and I are trying to say when we're talking about these historical figures. Someone can be compelling and interesting without like being someone that we would support in like modern politics.
It's just
like Genghis Khan, dude. I wouldn't want to meet that fucking lunatic. Like that guy was a fucking beast. Napoleon
it's just the
was
fact that like
fucked
England
up.
It's just like the fact that like still these butthurt English losers are trying to act like Napoleon was some terror imposed upon Europe and the world, and that it was England's duty to put an end to it, and that he was this monster, as opposed to England just being like, well, we're kind of safe over here, so we don't really have to worry about getting invaded, so we're just going to keep throwing the rest of Europe into the Thresher Maw, because we really don't want this guy to have like any upper hand over anybody else, since he overthrew the last monarch. You know what I mean?
The Thresher Maw.
Yeah.
Isn't that what is that, Mass Effect?
Fucking, I don't even know.
Thresher Maws? I know, like, there's the Thresher, which is an actual piece of machinery, but the Thresher Maw, I think, is a... I think that was Mass Effect.
I don't know, let's see.
Those games were sick, man.
Yeah.
The first couple Mass Effect games, Mass Effect 2, really good game. And I'm really bummed. We were just talking the other day about the KOTOR remake being fucking dead in the water, which is a wicked bummer.
Mass Effect,
Talk about like
gigantic subterranean worms, the Thresher Maws.
Talk about free money, dude. KOTOR remake, like that game is so good, and it's still good, even though it like looks and plays like shit now.
Yeah,
still good.
Yeah, would
have been awesome.
But anyway, so looking forward to seeing the butthurt Englishman portrayal of Napoleon.
Yeah, and I mean, I like Jack and Penis. I just fucking don't think that... I kind of don't get the casting. You know who honestly would have been...
Well, it's because Joaquin Phoenix now is like as old as Napoleon was pretty much when Napoleon died.
Yeah.
Like Joaquin Phoenix is like 50, right?
I will always think that David Mitchell should have been Napoleon.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is 49. Napoleon died at 53. Who'd you say?
David Mitchell.
David Mitchell.
From Peep Show and That Mitchell and Webb Look.
Oh, that guy.
English comedian, dude. He would have been such a... I mean, that's only if...
He's also 49, though. So.
I know, but he would have been the fucking best Napoleon. I'm sorry, but he's got the look, like dude. He looks like Napoleon. And also, he's talented. I mean, he's hysterical. I don't know... I honestly don't know if he's ever done, like, dramatic acting, but I feel like he could.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. So, like, if you were to, like, actually do, like, a proper Napoleon one, you'd probably have to, like... I mean, Napoleon was, like, 22 during the Italian campaign.
Yeah.
So it's just, like, I mean, that's part of, like, the insane part of Napoleon, is how fucking young... Like, even though the whole world was, like, younger then, even still, he was, like, 22 years old.
Yeah.
When he did, like, arguably the greatest military campaign in
he's
history.
like, he's Alexander the Great status. He's goated. He's goated for life. He was also above average height for his time, just so
Yeah.
everyone knows.
Yeah.
He was 5'7", above average height in 19th century Europe.
Yeah, I think part of the reason is because he had that Imperial Guard or
that were all super tall.
Yeah,
so he was constantly
exactly.
surrounding himself with like freakishly tall individuals, intentionally, because he wanted his guard.
And then there was also the Russian Imperial Guard during his battles with Russia that were also intentionally freakishly tall.
Yeah.
So it counts from them.
Yeah, I would have been a fucking freak of nature back then.
Oh yeah.
There weren't dudes built like this back then. Evan would have been tall as shit,
Yeah.
and I would have been like a golem.
Yeah. Yeah. You would. Then there's like this gigantic like monster that we kept on chains and
totally.
dragged behind us that we would just unleash in battle, so you could swing a gigantic sword like Sauron at the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring when he's just swinging the sword and like these like wave of people are going flying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It was a mace, but.
Oh, mace, yeah.
Which is realistically, if I was ever gonna get, this is something nerdy, but what would your ideal loadout be if you had to go into battle? Like, what would you? And you can't choose like an infinite number of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can pick a reasonable. If you had to walk around with it, say you were going questing, you're going on like a campaign, but we're not talking about like you can't be a magic guy. You got to be like a real warrior dude. What's your loadout? What do you got? What are you rocking?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it yet. I've thought about that. I guess in one hand,
that's not true. You're a fucking adult male. You've thought about it.
Yeah. So we're talking like in the past, like pre like
and it doesn't have to be any specific period, but like we're talking about like melee combat. Like what's your go-to pre firearms? But what's your go-to?
Honestly, I think I'd have to go some type of axe situation, or battle axe or something like that. Like, I was thinking like maybe like a bastard sword, but like, I don't know. I'm guessing I'll probably find myself really close quarters. And I want to be able to fucking, like kill some motherfucker like real close. So maybe some kind of like smaller like battle axe, and then maybe I don't know, some kind of like bigger weapon for on top of that. I don't know, but yeah, I would say like maybe like a battle axe.
I'm thinking that what I would do, you know what, honestly, what my loadout would be? And we're saying pre-firearm, so I would skip the gun part. But I would go, like, classic, like a Jacobite Highlander loadout. So probably, like, a Lochaber axe or, like, some kind of polearm, like some sort of utilitarian polearm. Because, like, being honest, like, they're not glamorous, but that's, like, what you want.
It's, like, really long,
long with, like, a blade and, like, a hook. So, like, I could just do multiple things with it. But also it would be a functional tool. And then I would do, like, some sort of a targe and either, like, a long dagger or a short sword. Like a small shield and, like, a long dagger or a short sword. Pretty lightly armored. Maybe some, like, leather armor.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly I would want something to protect my head.
Yeah.
Because I feel like getting fucking bonked in the head. And then there's no infrastructure in place for if you survive that, and you're just like a dude with a fucking vicious head injury.
Yeah, just constantly with headaches, and
you're just like, ah!
Yeah.
Ever since that fucking Warhammer caught you in the dome.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
all you do is just
you drool a lot,
drool and scream, but inside you've got like a fully realized like headspace, but all that comes out is just like ah, and so then some bandit company thinks that you're like and then that's when I would end up being put in chains and treat me like a ogre, feed me raw
they would just like be branding you and shit to get you all pissed off before battle.
Not cool.
All right, release Grugnuck.
Yeah, dude, they'd change my name. I couldn't just be fucking dumb Cam anymore. I'd have to be Grugnuck or something. Couple quick things. So I because I had COVID, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but because I had COVID, I've watched some fucking shows.
Yeah.
And have you seen any of these? Do you remember the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
Yeah, I haven't watched the anime yet.
It's good. It's really good. I recommend it. I was surprised. I thought so. The first episode, they were smart about it. The first episode, you finish it, and you're like, are they just like, or you come close to finishing it, you're like, are they just redoing the movie? And then, like, nope, not at all. It goes off the fucking rails. It's really good. And it's, like, almost the whole original cast from the movie.
Yeah,
So,
they all reprised the roles.
Yeah, almost everybody came back. So very cool. Definitely recommend that. Especially, I mean, if you're a fan of the movie, I haven't read those comics, but if you're a fan of the movie, I would recommend watching that first and then watching the show. But they're both really good. And then I also watched the show Blue Eye Samurai. Fucking awesome. Very, very good. And I highly, highly recommend that. Have you watched that yet?
No.
You should. That you would really like.
Cool.
Really good story. The action is fantastic, and it's, you know, I know that you like old samurai flicks. I love old samurai flicks. It's such an homage to that. Highly recommend. And then, you know what I've been watching? I've actually been sitting down and watching The Sopranos. I am almost done with season 2 of The Sopranos.
Yeah.
And Sopranos. And I realized I've always called it The Sopranos, like you would talk about a singer, but they in the show say The Sopranos, so I think the show is The Sopranos.
Yeah, everybody calls it Sopranos, though.
I know. But anyway, so that show, fucking A. I mean, I know this is not anything new to say, but it's just another example of like a show.
Guy who realizes The Sopranos is good in 2023.
Well, not even, and I'm not trying to make some point, just to say that, like, you know, I think, if anything, I had this idea that, like, oh, you know, it's so hyped up, like, will I even enjoy it because it's now this huge thing and I missed the boat. It's like trying to go and watch, like, The Sixth Sense for the first time and being like, wow, what a great movie. But, yeah, it's awesome. It's a fucking great show.
Season 1's definitely my favorite. Like, Season 1's goated.
Really?
Definitely by, like, seasons, like, 4 and 5. There's only, like, so many times that you can see James Gandolfini's O-face before you're just like, all right, can I stop seeing this fat dude get fucked? I
don't know, man. I'm really liking season 2. And, dude, Furio?
Yeah, Furio, yeah.
That dude's a freak.
Yeah, he rules.
Yeah, that first scene where they, like, unleash him in the fucking whorehouse.
Yeah.
And he just goes to town with the baseball bat.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, crazy. And also, you know what I've noticed is Melfi doesn't get a lot of love online for being as hot as she fucking was.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's a bunch of young fucking cucks talking about who's hot on TV shows. Yeah. Melfi was a fucking dime, dude. She was looking good.
Yeah.
Season 2, yes sir.
Yeah.
Anyhow, those are my thoughts on The Sopranos. I like it, and I understand.
So it's very funny if you watch The Sopranos. Once you finish season 6, just go back and start episode 1. Don't even watch the whole thing. Just watch episode 1, the pilot.
Okay.
Like the difference in size for Tony Soprano.
He gets big.
Well, and so here I'll give you a little bit of trivia about The Sopranos, because like in season 1, like, you know, he's overweight.
Yeah,
but like he's not.
He's less overweight than I am right now in season 1.
Yeah, like when he tucks his shirt in, you know, it's not like this gigantic gut hanging out. You know what I mean? Like he's overweight, but it's, you know.
Yeah, Gandolfini started eating good on that Sopranos.
Well,
money.
So what happened was apparently, basically, like in any scene in the show where he's eating food, he would have them actually make him that like whole dish, and if they did another take, he would make him a new dish, and he would eat it as well. So, like...
He was just eating 6 meals a day.
So he's just sitting there. For some of these, if they're doing 5-6 takes, he's, like, taking down, like, 5 or 6 fucking bowls of gnocchi or some shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's just scarfing these down. And, like, apparently, everybody else on the show got, like, so worried about him doing this that, like, by the later seasons, they, like, tried to do, like, a little intervention thing for him. Where, like, we're all really concerned about how much you're eating for this, and so he's sitting there when he's breathing mad heavy, just scarfing down the capicola. He's like, dude, like he sounds like my fucking roommate's pit bull. Yeah, and she's laying there, like, and he's just scarfing down the gabagool, you know, like just like eating it just straight in the fridge like that. Yeah, all of that is very, very funny. So yeah, next time he's got a scene where they're at fucking Vesuvio or some shit, and he's eating some bolognese or something like that, just know that might be his 5th bowl that's sitting.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Poor James. I gotta say, dude was a fucking powerhouse. He was so good. He's such a good actor.
Also, his accent in the like he really starts
leading
into it.
Yeah, you know what you told Christopher.
Yeah, Christopher, you know, like he's like really like getting that like SH sound on everything, but then you watch the first episode and it's like very, very subdued. Man, what you gonna fucking do?
It's like the evolution of Homer Simpson over the first few seasons of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
The change is so stark, and like at the start of it, you're
it becomes like kind of a caricature.
Damn, Homer's like pretty normal sounding at the start, and then by the end of it, he's fucking Homer Simpson.
Yeah, homie. Yeah.
You know who I'm interested in, and don't give me any spoilers here, but Richie Aprile.
Yeah, Richie Aprile.
I don't know what's going on with him. I like him though. I tentatively like him. And I'm also I'm sad to learn that Pussy really is informing, and I'm assuming he's gonna get bopped at some point.
Yeah, big pussy.
Yeah. But yeah, and then dude, Summer Soprano or Meadow Soprano. Rather. Meadow Soprano, dude.
Yep.
She's still hot.
She is still hot. And then also as you'll notice as the show goes on, and what's Robert Eiler, I think he plays AJ. Mm-hmm. They clearly cast him because he was like a stocky young man.
Yeah.
However, he once he goes through puberty, he gets like wicked skinny and he does not really get tall. And they have to like kind of explain that in the show because like the actor himself is now only like 5'5", 5'6".
Yeah.
And he like gets like wicked skinny, and fucking James Gandolfini is like 6'2".
Yeah, he was a big,
he was like 6'1", 6'2". And so like there's like this one scene later in the show where he's like, he's talking about how like small fucking AJ is. He's like, yeah, he gets that from his mother's side. You know what I mean? Like, oh, skinny and short.
Yeah.
But then there's also like there's that famous line in the show where you have Uncle Junior who's always busting Tony's balls.
Yeah. He tried to kill him in season 1.
Yeah.
And fucking Livia?
He's
oh
like,
my god.
He's like busting his balls about he never had the makings of a varsity quarterback.
Yeah.
His hands are too small, except if you actually look in the show. James Gandolfini has like the biggest fucking hands I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like there's one scene where he holds this woman and he's like holds her head to kiss her, and I swear to God his hand takes up like the entire bottom half of her head.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sopranos, man. I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, there we go. Once again, we've managed to pull an hour of this show out of thin fucking air.
Yep. Fucking A right, boys.
Because we're just that good.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll be back. We're working on some stuff, and Evan might be a little while before Evan does an episode. Might not. We'll see what he wants to do, but he needs a little time.
Excuse me. Yeah, I got a lot going on, so
we'll figure it out. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful week. Thanks, as always, for listening, sharing with your friends, supporting us. We spread predominantly by word of mouth. You can find us on Patreon now. I know we've mentioned that the last few weeks. The link for that, as always, will be in our description. Evan, do you want to thank some people for subscribing?
Yeah. So once again, we want to thank our Patreon subscribers. So again, we will never like dox you or anything like that. So we'll just read your first name. If you don't want us to, when you sign up, you can just send us a message. But so we'd like to thank our Patreon subscribers, which would be Joe, Carl, Jimbo, John, Alex, Jeremy, and Pear. So thanks to all of you for signing up and donating a small monthly amount. Basically, we're just looking to help, pay for stuff like hosting fees, books, all that kind of stuff. So if you would like to, and eventually once we get to a certain number, I'm thinking once we get to 50 subscribers, we can start doing some paid content just for those people who have clearly indicated that they like this show. And we maybe start doing some timed releases for guest episodes, all that kind of stuff in the future.
Yeah.
But anyway, so thanks to all of you for signing up. And if you would like to sign up, you can go to patreon.com/leftunreadpod. I believe that's the correct link. Let me
it is. It is.
Okay.
It'll also be in the episode description. You'll see it. I'll post it down there. But yes, that is it. It might actually
patreon.com/leftunread.
Yeah, it's not pod.
Yeah,
because Left Unread wasn't taken. So it's patreon.com/leftunread, all one word. Yeah, cool. We love you guys very much, and we hope that you're having a wonderful time. We hope you had a safe holiday if you celebrate, and we hope that you guys are, everything's good in your life, because it's not in ours. So
our shit's fucked up bad.
Our shit is weird all the time. All right, bye.
You got to be crazy toes. And when you're on the street, you got to be